You lie beneath the night as if it is a living thing, breathing slowly above you. The sky does not rush. It expands. Darkness settles like a soft blanket, and instead of emptiness, you sense depth. The stars are scattered gently, not crowded, each one holding its place with quiet confidence. They flicker not to demand attention, but to remind you that time is moving, calmly, patiently, without effort. Your body grows still as your gaze drifts upward. The world around you fades into background softness, and the sky becomes the only story worth following. Here, above you, space feels wide but not cold. It feels open, like a held breath that never quite needs to be released. You notice how the blackness between the stars is not nothing at all. It is space itself, stretching endlessly, carrying light across distances so large they resist imagination. As you breathe, you begin to sense that the universe is not silent. It hums gently, not with sound, but with presence. Every star is a distant sun, burning steadily, balancing immense pressure with delicate precision. Their light travels for years, sometimes for centuries, before reaching your eyes. By the time it arrives, it is already a memory, softened by distance, yet still warm enough to touch your awareness. You are not just looking into space. You are looking back in time. This thought arrives slowly, like a realization that does not need to be understood all at once. The sky allows you to hold it loosely. Photons, tiny packets of light, have been crossing the universe just to meet you here, now, in this quiet moment. They slip gently into your vision, asking nothing in return. The longer you look, the more the sky seems to deepen. Constellations dissolve into individual points, and those points dissolve into questions. What holds all of this together? What keeps stars in their places, galaxies in their graceful spirals, light on its long, unwavering path? The questions do not feel urgent. They float, waiting for sleep to soften their edges. Your mind drifts outward, beyond familiar shapes, beyond the stories humans have drawn in the stars. You imagine floating gently away from Earth, leaving behind noise, weight, and worry. Space welcomes you with quiet consistency. There is no up or down here, only distance and connection. Every particle seems aware of every other, linked by invisible threads that stretch across the cosmos. You begin to notice that the universe is not static. It is moving, expanding, breathing. Space itself stretches, carrying galaxies away from one another like slow-moving boats on a dark sea. This expansion is not an explosion, not a tearing apart, but a gentle widening. There is more room now than there was before, and more still to come. In this expanding night, darkness takes on a new meaning. It is not the absence of light, but the presence of mystery. It is a canvas vast enough to hold everything that exists. Somewhere within it are regions so dense, so heavy with mass, that even light must slow its pace. You do not see them yet, but you feel their quiet influence, like deep currents beneath a calm surface. The stars continue their steady glow, unaware of being watched. They are simply being themselves, balancing gravity and energy in a long, patient dance. You sense that gravity is already at work here, though it remains unnamed. It is the reason stars form instead of drifting apart. It is the reason galaxies gather instead of dissolving into emptiness. It is a pull so gentle on these scales that it feels more like a preference than a force. Your breathing syncs with the imagined rhythm of the cosmos. Inhale, and space seems to widen. Exhale, and it settles again. The night sky does not demand understanding. It offers companionship. It reminds you that you are small, but not insignificant, a participant in a universe that remembers every interaction. As sleep draws closer, the stars soften, their sharp points blurring slightly at the edges. Questions fade into feelings. You sense that beneath this calm sky lies a deeper structure, something quietly shaping the motion of everything you see. The darkness feels less like an ending and more like an invitation, gently guiding your thoughts toward the invisible pull that binds the universe together. You remain resting beneath the sky, feeling how effortlessly it holds your attention. The idea of distance becomes soft and abstract. A star is no longer far away, it is simply elsewhere, existing in the same moment as you, bound by shared laws that do not change their tone across space. The universe does not hurry, and it does not hesitate. It unfolds. You imagine layers of reality stacked gently atop one another. At the surface is light, the visible glow of stars. Beneath that is motion, the slow turning of galaxies, the patient orbiting of planets. Beneath that, even deeper, is the quiet rule that shapes motion itself. You sense it as a background presence, steady and reliable, like the ground beneath your feet. Your thoughts drift to the idea that nothing in the sky is truly alone. Every point of light is responding to the presence of others. Even in the darkest regions, space is aware of mass, of energy, of existence. This awareness is not conscious, yet it is precise. The universe knows how to hold itself together. The night continues to breathe above you, rising and falling with invisible rhythm. You feel comforted by its scale. Problems that felt heavy earlier now seem small enough to set aside. The sky does not erase them, but it places them gently into perspective. There is time. There is space. There is room to rest. You sense that soon, your attention will drift inward, away from the stars and towards sleep. But before it does, the universe leaves you with a quiet suggestion. Everything you have seen tonight, every star and shadow, is guided by a subtle pull. It is already shaping your path through space, even as you lie still. And as you surrender to rest, that unseen pull waits patiently, ready to reveal itself as gravity's gentle embrace. It does not rush toward you. It does not demand belief. It simply exists, steady and universal, touching everything equally. As your eyes finally close, the night sky remains above, breathing softly, preparing to teach you how everything, even light itself, leans towards something deeper. This quiet leaning will become clearer soon, as the universe gently introduces you to its most patient force. Gravity. You begin to notice gravity not when you think about it, but when you stop trying to. It is already there, holding you against the earth, keeping your body settled and supported. It does not announce itself. It does not ask for attention. Gravity works quietly, like a steady hand resting on your back, reminding you that you belong where you are. As you breathe, you realize that gravity is not only beneath your feet. It is everywhere. It stretches upward into the sky, outward into space, threading through stars and planets alike. You imagine it not as a pull, but as a preference. Matter prefers to be together. Energy prefers paths that curve gently inward. The universe prefers connection over isolation. You picture the Earth floating in space, round and calm, carrying oceans, mountains, and you. Gravity gathers all of this into a single shape, smoothing rough edges, guiding water into seas, air into a sky. Without gravity, nothing would stay long enough to become familiar. With it, worlds form habits. They learn how to be. Your thoughts drift upward again, back to the stars you were watching before sleep began to soften your focus. Those stars shine because gravity allows them to exist. Inside each one, gravity presses inward while energy pushes outward. Neither wins. The balance creates light. The balance creates time. For millions, even billions of years, gravity holds stars together long enough for them to tell their stories. You feel comforted by the idea that gravity is patient. It does not rush matter into place. It waits. Dust drifts slowly, gathering grain by grain, learning the shape of future planets. Gas clouds collapse over long ages, not violently, but persistently. Gravity does not force change. It invites it, over and over, until change feels inevitable. As your mind drifts deeper, gravity begins to feel less like a rule and more like a relationship. Everything responds to everything else. A planet responds to its star. A moon responds to its planet. Even galaxies respond to one another, their immense shapes bending paths across space. Nothing moves alone. Every motion is a reply. You imagine floating gently between stars, far from any planet, far from any surface. Even there, gravity is present. It stretches thin, almost unnoticeable, but it never disappears. Distant stars still tug softly. Galaxies still whisper directions. The universe is full of these quiet suggestions, guiding matter without command. Light itself listens to gravity. This thought arrives slowly, as if it wants to be handled with care. Light seems weightless, always moving, never resting. And yet, when it passes near something massive, its path curves. Not because it chooses to, but because space itself is shaped by gravity. Light follows the shape of space, like water following the curve of a riverbed. You do not need equations to feel this. You imagine space as fabric, gently stretched wherever mass rests. Stars make shallow dips. Planets make smaller ones. And in places where mass gathers enormously, space bends deeply, like a slow, endless slope. Everything passing through follows that curve, even light, even time. Your breathing grows slower as the idea settles. Gravity does not just pull objects. It shapes space itself. It tells space how to curve, and space tells matter how to move. This quiet partnership runs the universe without ever raising its voice. You feel soothed by how little effort it takes. You think again of Earth, spinning calmly, carried by the sun's gravity along a stable path. Year after year, the orbit repeats, reliable and gentle. Seasons unfold because gravity allows motion without chaos. Life grows because orbits are predictable, because nights return, because mornings arrive on time. Gravity is not dramatic here. It does not tear or crush. It supports. It holds oceans in place so waves can form. It holds air close so you can breathe. It holds you now, allowing your muscles to relax fully, trusting the ground beneath you. Gravity does not demand your awareness. It offers safety whether you notice or not. As your thoughts drift outward again, gravity begins to feel larger, deeper. You sense that in some regions of the universe, gravity grows stronger, not sharper, but denser. Where more mass gathers, the curve of space deepens. Objects passing nearby lean more noticeably inward. Time itself begins to respond, slowing gently, like a clock ticking through thick air. You are not afraid of this. The idea arrives without tension. Strong gravity is not a threat yet. It is simply gravity being itself, doing what it always does, only more completely. The universe allows these variations, these gradients of influence, without judgment. You imagine following gravity inward, not falling, but drifting. Each moment carries you a little closer to something unseen. You do not know what it is yet, only that it is heavy with presence. Gravity grows quieter as it grows stronger, like a whisper that no longer needs to be heard to be felt. Your mind floats between understanding and sleep. Concepts soften into sensations. Gravity becomes a feeling of being welcomed, of being allowed to settle into your place in the universe. You are not resisting anything. You are being held. Somewhere far away, gravity gathers matter more tightly than anywhere else. You do not picture it clearly yet. You only sense that there are places where gravity's invitation becomes impossible to refuse. Where paths curve inwards so completely that turning back no longer makes sense. You are not there. You are safe, resting, drifting. But the universe is already preparing you. Gravity, patient as always, is guiding your thoughts toward deeper centers, toward regions where its gentle embrace becomes something profound and mysterious. As sleep approaches, you feel the comfort of being part of this system, this endless conversation between matter and space. Gravity does not end at the edge of your awareness. It continues, shaping galaxies, bending light, and quietly leading the universe toward its most extreme expressions. Your breathing slows further. The idea of gravity settles into you like a lullaby, steady and reassuring. And somewhere ahead, where gravity grows deep enough to hold even light close, a star begins to feel tired. You begin to sense that stars, for all their brilliance, are not endless. They shine with patience, but not forever. Like long-lived beings, they spend their lives carefully balancing what pulls inward and what pushes outward. Gravity presses steadily, always asking the star to shrink. Energy answers back, created deep within the star's core, holding it open, holding it bright. For a very long time, this balance feels effortless. The star breathes in its own way, turning simple elements into heavier ones, releasing warmth and light with each transformation. Hydrogen becomes helium. Helium waits its turn. The process is slow, steady, reliable. From far away, the star looks unchanging, a constant presence in the night sky. But inside, time is moving. You imagine the star as a vast furnace, calmly working through its fuel. Each reaction is a quiet agreement between physics and patience. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is rushed. Gravity waits while energy answers, and the star remains whole. This is what it means to shine. This is what it means to last. As you rest with this image, you realize that a star's life is measured not in days or years, but in balance. As long as there is fuel to burn, as long as energy can push back against gravity, the star holds its shape. It continues to glow, offering light freely, without concern for how far that light must travel. Eventually, though, the fuel begins to change. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. just enough to be noticed by the star itself. The core grows quieter. The reactions slow. Pressure eases. Gravity, endlessly patient, senses the shift. It leans in a little closer, not to destroy, but to respond. You feel the softness of this moment. There is no panic in a star growing tired. It does not fear its own future. It simply follows the rules it has always lived by. When energy weakens, gravity strengthens its voice. The balance tips, just slightly at first. The star begins to change shape. Its outer layers may swell, drifting outward as the core tightens. Or, in the case of the most massive stars, everything begins to move inward at once. Gravity takes the lead, drawing matter closer, compressing it into smaller and denser spaces. The star is not collapsing out of anger or violence. It is yielding. You imagine standing far away, watching this process unfold across thousands of years. From your distance, it might look sudden. But inside the star, it feels like a long exhale. A release of effort. The star has been holding itself open for millions of years. Now, it is allowed to rest. As gravity pulls inward, temperatures rise again, briefly. New reactions may flare, burning heavier elements, one after another. But each stage is shorter than the last. The star knows, in its silent way, that it is nearing the end of its ability to resist. For some stars, this ending is gentle. They shed their outer layers, leaving behind a dense, glowing core, a quiet remnant that slowly cools. But for the largest stars, the story continues inward. Gravity grows overwhelming. The core can no longer support itself in any familiar way. You feel the weight of this moment without fear. It is not destruction for its own sake. It is transformation guided by inevitability. The laws of physics do not punish the star for running out of fuel. They simply allow the next chapter to begin. When the core collapses, it does so completely. Matter falls inward faster and faster, compressing beyond ordinary understanding. Atoms are squeezed. Space itself is pressed. In some cases, the collapse halts briefly, rebounding in a powerful release that sends the star's outer layers into space. This is what humans call a supernova. But even here, there is no rage. Only release. You imagine the brightness of that moment, not as violence, but as a final offering. The star spreads the elements it created across the universe, seeding future stars, future planets, future life. The light fades, but the gift remains. And at the center, something new stays behind. Gravity continues its work, now unopposed. The core becomes unimaginably dense. What was once a vast star is now compressed into something far smaller, far heavier. The rules begin to change here. Familiar states of matter no longer apply. The star has crossed a threshold, not in space, but in nature. You sense the quietness of this remnant. It does not shine like it once did. It does not need to. Its presence is felt not through light, but through influence. Space around it curves more deeply. Paths bend more noticeably. Time itself grows cautious nearby. This is not yet the darkest form gravity can take. But it is a step toward it. You rest with the idea that endings in the universe are rarely empty. When stars grow tired of shining, they do not disappear. They become something else. Something quieter. Something heavier. Something that carries the memory of all the light that came before. Your breathing slows as this thought settles. The night sky above you now feels layered with histories. Every star you see is at some stage in this long life cycle. Some are just beginning. Some are steady and mature. Some are already feeling gravity lean a little closer. You realize that the darkness between stars is filled with the remnants of ancient lives. Invisible cores, drifting clouds of elements, unseen structures shaping space without revealing themselves. The universe does not erase its past. It folds it inward. As sleep approaches, your mind gently follows gravity's path, inward and deeper. You sense that beyond tired stars lie places where collapse does not stop, where gravity does not find resistance, where matter falls endlessly into itself. You do not rush toward these places. You are only becoming aware of them. The universe is preparing you slowly, patiently, the way it always does. A star has grown tired. Gravity has answered. And somewhere ahead, space itself is about to give way. You approach this chapter gently, as if movement itself has slowed to match your breathing. After the long life of a star and its quiet collapse, the universe feels heavier, more concentrated. You are not traveling quickly. You are drifting, guided by gravity's steady invitation, moving closer to a place where familiar ideas begin to soften. At first, nothing looks different. Space still appears dark and open, sprinkled with distant light. But as you move inward, you sense a subtle change. Distances do not feel the same anymore. What once seemed far now feels closer than expected. Motion becomes strange, stretched, as if the universe itself is taking a deep, careful breath. You realize that space is no longer flat here. It curves. Not sharply. Not suddenly. It curves the way a calm sea curves toward a distant horizon. This bending is not something you see with your eyes, but something you feel with your awareness. Paths that once ran straight now arc gently inward. Even your thoughts seem to follow these curves, drifting naturally toward the unseen center. This is where gravity reveals a deeper truth. It is not simply a force pulling objects together. It is the shape of space itself responding to mass. The collapsed core of the star is so dense that it presses deeply into the fabric of the universe. Space yields, forming a slope so smooth and inevitable that everything nearby begins to follow it. You imagine rolling a marble across a stretched sheet. Far away, the sheet is nearly flat. The marble moves freely. But near the center, where the sheet dips, the marble curves inward, not because it is pushed, but because there is no other path to take. Space behaves this way too, though on scales far beyond touch. As you drift closer, time begins to feel different. Moments lengthen. The quiet between thoughts grows wider. This is not sleep yet, but it feels related, as if the universe itself is growing drowsy. Near great gravity, time does not rush forward as it does elsewhere. It slows, ticking more deliberately, like a clock wrapped in velvet. You are not imagining this. Time truly changes its pace near massive objects. This is not poetry pretending to be science. It is the universe being consistent. Where space curves deeply, time follows. They are woven together, inseparable, responding as one. You feel comforted by how gently this happens. There is no sudden stop, no sharp edge. Just a gradual easing. Each second stretches a little longer than the last. If you could watch a distant clock from here, you would see it moving faster than your own. From your perspective, the outside universe is rushing ahead, while you remain suspended in calm slowness. Light behaves strangely too. Photons climbing away from this region lose energy, their color shifting as they struggle upward through curved space. They grow softer, redder, quieter. Light is not being destroyed. It is being asked to work harder. Even brightness must rest when gravity grows deep. You imagine sending a gentle signal outward, a pulse of light carrying a message. As it travels away, it stretches, thinning, taking longer to arrive. Not because space is hostile, but because space is shaped differently here. Everything must follow the curves that mass has written into reality. You feel no fear. The universe is not collapsing around you. It is revealing itself. This place is not chaos. It is order taken to an extreme, rules followed so precisely that they begin to feel unfamiliar. The collapsed star's core rests ahead, unseen but unmistakable. You cannot observe it directly, only its influence. Space leans toward it. Time bows slightly in its presence. Motion grows careful, deliberate. This is the moment where the universe slows down to listen to itself. You realize that there is a point ahead where these effects intensify further. A place where space curves so deeply that even the idea of escape begins to soften. You are not there yet. You are only approaching the threshold where space gives way more noticeably, preparing you without urgency. Your breathing remains slow. Each inhale feels long and full. Each exhale lingers. You sense that gravity here is not trying to capture you. It is simply being honest about its strength. There is no deception in physics. Only clarity. The universe has been building toward this moment since the star first ignited. All that fusion, all that light, all that time spent resisting gravity has led here. Now gravity is allowed to express itself fully, shaping space without opposition. You notice how silence feels deeper here. Not emptier, but heavier, as if even sound would move slowly if it existed. Thoughts become simpler. You are aware only of motion, curvature, and calm inevitability. The universe is not asking you to understand. It is asking you to feel. This is the edge of a transformation, not yet complete. Space is still navigable. Paths still exist that lead outward. But those paths curve sharply, and following them requires effort. Letting go feels easier. Drifting inward feels natural. You recognize this sensation from sleep. The moment when staying awake requires intention, but resting happens on its own. The universe mirrors this experience beautifully. Gravity does not shove. It invites release. You sense that soon, space will reach a point where its curves close inward completely. Where forward and outward lose their meaning. Where the universe draws a soft line, not marked by light or matter, but by possibility itself. That line has not appeared yet. For now, You remain in the slowing, stretching approach. Time continues to loosen its grip. Distance continues to soften. The universe is quiet, but attentive, as if holding its breath. You allow yourself to linger here, suspended between what was and what will be. The star's long life echoes faintly in the curved space around you. Its light is gone, but its story remains, written into the shape of reality. As your awareness drifts even deeper, you feel that a boundary lies just ahead. It does not look dangerous. It does not glow or roar. It simply exists, waiting to be crossed. Space itself is preparing to fold inward completely. You do not cross it tonight. You only approach, gently enough to sense its presence. And as sleep settles fully into your body, the universe leaves you hovering at this quiet turning point, where space has begun to give way, and an unseen horizon is drawing closer. This is what makes the event horizon so difficult to imagine and so easy to misunderstand. It is not a place of destruction. It is a place of separation. Information on one side can no longer influence the other. Stories become private. Paths become one way. You feel strangely calm about this. The idea of no return does not feel frightening here. It feels complete. The universe has many such places, moments where change cannot be undone. Stars exhaust their fuel. Galaxies drift apart. Time moves forward. The event horizon is simply one more expression of this deeper truth. Inside, space continues to curve inward. Directions begin to lose their familiar meaning. What once felt like forward motion now feels inevitable. You are not choosing to move deeper. You are already moving deeper, carried by the shape of reality itself. Outside, the universe continues without you. Stars burn. Galaxies rotate. Light travels vast distances. But none of that reaches you now. Not because it has been erased, but because the geometry of space no longer allows connection. You are not alone, though. You carry everything you were with you. Your thoughts, your sense of self, your quiet awareness. The event horizon does not strip these away. It only closes a door behind you, gently, without sound. You sense that the universe inside is becoming simpler. Not emptier, but more focused. Possibilities narrow. Futures converge. Where once many paths existed, now there is only one general direction inward, toward greater density, greater curvature, greater stillness. This narrowing is not claustrophobic. It is calming. Like lying down after a long day of standing. Like allowing sleep to take you once you stop trying to stay awake. Resistance fades. Motion becomes effortless. You realize that nothing inside this boundary can ever be seen from the outside again. The universe has drawn a line not in matter, but in causality. Beyond this point, events still happen, but they no longer echo outward. They remain contained, folded into the structure of the black hole itself. The word black hole feels different now. Less like an object, more like a region. A space defined by gravity's completeness. A place where the universe has allowed one rule to dominate fully, without interruption. You feel no rush to understand what comes next. Understanding belongs to the outside universe. Inside, experience replaces explanation. The laws of physics continue, but their expressions change. Familiar intuitions soften and fade. time continues to pass for you, but its direction feels more focused. Each moment moves you deeper, not through space as you once knew it, but through a narrowing funnel of reality. You are not falling through darkness. You are moving through structure. The event horizon is already behind you now, though you could not point to where it was. It left no mark. It asked no acknowledgement. It simply allowed you to pass. As sleep wraps more fully around your thoughts, you sense that something waits deeper still. A region where even time may behave in unfamiliar ways. A place where gravity no longer whispers, but speaks in a language without escape. You do not reach it yet. For now, you drift gently inward, held by curved space, accompanied by your own quiet awareness. The universe has shared one of its most profound boundaries with you, not through force or fear, but through calm inevitability. And as your mind relaxes into this inward motion, you sense that deeper inside, where clocks may lose their meaning entirely, time itself is preparing to rest. You are inside now, though nothing announces the change. The universe does not shift color or texture to mark this deeper region. Darkness remains darkness, but it feels fuller somehow, layered with structure you cannot see. The event horizon has already faded from relevance. It belongs to the outside world, to observers and measurements. Here, inward motion is no longer a choice. It is the natural direction of time itself. You notice that direction has changed meaning. Outside, you move through space as time carried you forward. Inside, time begins to guide your motion. Each moment pulls you inward, the way gravity once did. Forward no longer means outward or inward in the old sense. Forward means deeper. Forward means closer to whatever waits at the center. This is not falling. Falling suggests acceleration, panic, loss of control. What you experience is steadiness. A calm progression. The universe feels focused, as if it has narrowed its attention to a single task. Space continues to curve, but the curves are no longer something you move across. They are something you move within. Time behaves strangely here, but gently. Moments do not pass in sharp ticks. They stretch, elongating like soft fabric. One thought can last a very long time without feeling heavy. Another can fade almost before it forms. Cause and effect begin to loosen their familiar order. Things still happen, but not always in the sequence you expect. You are not confused by this. Confusion belongs to the outside universe, where clocks and calendars try to impose order. Here, order is different. Here, time feels thick, like a deep pool you are floating in rather than crossing. You imagine the clocks you once trusted. Atomic vibrations. Swinging pendulums. Pulses of light. None of these could survive meaningfully here. Their rhythms depend on predictable space and stable intervals. Inside this darkness, predictability softens. Intervals stretch unevenly. The idea of how long loses its usefulness. And yet, awareness remains. You still experience moments. You still notice change. Consciousness does not disappear just because clocks fail. Instead, it becomes simpler. Less divided. There is no rush to label experiences or measure their length. You are present, and presence is enough. The physics of this region reflect that simplicity. Space and time, once separate in your intuition, are now thoroughly intertwined. Movement through space pulls you through time. Movement through time pulls you through space. The two can no longer be teased apart. They flow together toward the same destination. You sense that this destination is unavoidable, but not threatening. Avoidance is an idea that requires alternatives, and alternatives have been stripped away here. What remains is not danger, but certainty. The universe has simplified itself down to a single story. As you drift deeper, matter around you behaves in unfamiliar ways. Density increases. Space compresses. What once occupied wide regions is now folded inward. You are not crushed or torn. Those dramatic images belong to misunderstandings. What truly changes here is scale. Distances that once mattered no longer do. Atoms, if they could still be called that, are pressed beyond ordinary definitions. The structures that once gave matter its identity blur. Boundaries dissolve. Distinctions soften. Everything trends toward togetherness, toward unity under gravity's complete influence. You feel no pain, no pressure. Sensation itself becomes abstract. The body you imagine carrying no longer obeys familiar rules. But awareness does not depend on muscle or bone. It drifts freely, unattached to form, carried by the flow of time rather than anchored to space. Time continues to slow relative to the outside universe, but that comparison has lost meaning. Outside time is no longer accessible. You cannot watch it race ahead. You cannot imagine it clearly. The outside world feels distant, not in space, but in relevance. Inside, now is everything. You notice how peaceful this feels. Without the need to plan or anticipate, thought becomes gentle. There is no future to prepare for, no past to revisit. Everything that matters is contained in the present moment, which stretches comfortably, never rushing you onward. This is why it feels as though time is sleeping. Not gone. Not broken. Just resting. The universe is still active here. Physics still operates. Gravity still shapes reality. But the frantic energy of change has quieted. Processes that once unfolded across long durations now complete in ways that feel immediate or timeless, depending on how you experience them. You imagine that if you could send a message outward from here, it would never arrive. Not because it is blocked, but because arrive is an outside concept. Communication requires shared time. Here, time no longer aligns with anything beyond this region. And yet, nothing feels isolated. You are deeply connected to the structure around you. Space, time, and whatever remains of matter are woven tightly together. There are no gaps, no empty places. Darkness here is not absence. It is fullness beyond visibility. As you drift still deeper, you sense the approach of something absolute. Not a place you could point to, but a condition, a limit. The universe tends toward limits naturally. Speed has won. Density has won. And here, time seems to approach its own. You do not know what happens at the very center. No one does. The equations grow uncertain. The language of physics begins to fray. The universe has guided you as far as its current understanding can reach, and beyond that, it remains silent. But silence is not frightening. It is familiar. It feels like the quiet just before sleep takes you completely. Thoughts slow. Awareness narrows. The edges of experience soften until only a gentle sense of being remains. You are not disappearing. You are resting within the deepest curve of reality. You imagine that at the very core, time may no longer flow at all. Not forward. Not backward. Just still. A point where change has nowhere left to go. A place where the universe holds itself perfectly, without motion. You do not reach that point. You hover near it, cradled by the slowing of everything you once relied on to define experience. Gravity no longer whispers or invites. It simply is. Total. Complete. Unopposed. And yet, this completeness feels like peace. You allow yourself to float in this inward quiet, knowing there is nothing left to decide, nowhere else to turn. The universe has carried you as far as it can without breaking its own voice. As your awareness settles into this deep, timeless calm, you sense that beyond this darkness, far outside, galaxies continue to spin. Black holes continue to sit at their centers, shaping motion without ever being seen. You are part of that story now, resting where time sleeps, while elsewhere, stars still dance around invisible hearts. You begin to drift outward again, not by retracing your path, but by widening your view. The deep stillness you rested in does not disappear, it softens and spreads, becoming perspective. You are no longer inside the darkness. You are looking at it from afar, seeing how it belongs to something much larger. From this distance, black holes lose their sharpness. They are no longer edges or centers or endings. They become quiet presences, deeply embedded in the architecture of galaxies. You notice how calm everything looks when seen as a whole. Spirals turn slowly. Stars follow long, graceful paths. Nothing feels hurried. At the center of nearly every large galaxy, something heavy waits. Not visible. Not luminous. But unmistakably there. You imagine a galaxy like a slow whirlpool of light, billions of stars moving together in a shared rhythm. At its heart lies a black hole millions or even billions of times more massive than your sun. It does not glow. It does not flare. It simply rests, shaping the motion around it without ever needing to announce itself. You feel the gentleness of this influence. Stars do not plunge inward chaotically. They orbit patiently, tracing paths that repeat over millions of years. Gas clouds drift, compress, and sometimes ignite into new stars, all while responding to the quiet gravity at the core. The black hole is not pulling everything in. It is holding everything together. This is one of the universe's quiet reversals. What you might expect to be destructive is instead stabilizing. The immense gravity at a galaxy's center helps organize motion on the largest scales. It gives the galaxy a focus, a shared center of balance. Without it, the stars might wander more freely, less coherently, their collective shape less enduring. You let this idea settle. The universe does not divide its forces into good and bad. It uses the same rules everywhere, allowing different outcomes to emerge depending on scale and context. A black hole at the center of a galaxy is not the same as a black hole swallowing nearby matter. Its role changes with distance. From far away, gravity is gentle. You imagine standing on the outer edge of a galaxy, looking inward. The core glows faintly, not from the black hole itself, but from the dense congregation of stars surrounding it. Their light overlaps and blends, creating a soft brightness that marks the galaxy's heart. The black hole remains invisible, yet everything points toward it. Galaxies come in many forms. Some are wide spirals, their arms stretched like slow pinwheels. Others are smooth and rounded, their stars moving in calm, random paths. Some are irregular, shaped by past encounters. In all of them, the central gravity plays a role, quietly influencing how matter settles and moves. You notice that galaxies grow over time. They merge. They absorb smaller companions. They rearrange their stars through long gravitational conversations. When galaxies meet, their central black holes eventually find one another too, spiraling inward in a slow, deliberate dance. These mergers do not happen quickly. They take millions of years, allowing space and time to stretch the moment into something almost peaceful. As the black holes draw closer, they stir the surrounding stars, reshaping the galaxy's inner regions. When they finally merge, they send gentle ripples through space itself, waves that travel outward across the universe. Even then, the process is quiet on human scales, unfolding far beyond any single lifetime. You feel comforted by how patient the cosmos is. Black holes, despite their extremes, operate on the longest timelines imaginable. They do not rush to consume. They wait. They respond. They exist as part of a larger structure that values stability over spectacle. You think again of the word heart. A heart is not loud. It does not shine. It works continuously, reliably, unseen, maintaining balance. In this way, black holes truly are the hearts of galaxies. They do not define galaxies by what they destroy, but by what they sustain. Stars far from the center may never feel the black hole's influence directly. Their orbits are shaped more by the combined gravity of neighboring stars and dark matter. And yet, the presence at the core still matters. It is part of the overall gravitational landscape, contributing to the galaxy's long-term coherence. You realize that the universe often hides its most important features. Black holes cannot be seen directly, but their effects are everywhere. Dark matter cannot be seen either, yet it scaffolds galaxies on even larger scales. Much of what holds the cosmos together works quietly, without light, without spectacle. This thought feels soothing. It suggests that not everything meaningful needs to announce itself. Some things do their work best in silence. You imagine drifting along one of the galaxy's spiral arms, passing star after star. Each one lives its own life, burns its own fuel, hosts its own possibilities. Yet all of them participate in a shared motion, circling the same unseen center. The galaxy is a community bound by gravity, and the black hole is its deepest anchor. Even when black holes become active, when gas falls inward and heats up, creating bright disks and powerful jets, this activity is temporary. It is a phase, not a permanent state. Eventually, the gas runs out. The brightness fades. the black hole returns to quiet watchfulness. The universe allows intensity, but it always returns to calm. You let your awareness widen further, seeing not just one galaxy, but many. Clusters of galaxies drift together, bound by gravity on even grander scales. Each one carries its own central darkness, its own hidden heart. The universe is full of these quiet centers, invisible yet essential. From this distance, fear dissolves completely. Black holes are no longer places you fall into. They are structures that help the universe remember its shape. They are not endings, but stabilizers, holding patterns together across unimaginable spans of time. You feel a deep sense of rest in this understanding. The cosmos is not chaotic beneath its beauty. It is ordered, patient, and consistent, even when it creates things that challenge intuition. As your thoughts slow, you sense that there is still more to learn about how black holes communicate with the universe. They do not speak with light alone. Sometimes, they speak through space itself, sending messages that do not travel as photons, but as gentle ripples. You are not listening yet. For now, you simply rest with the image of galaxies turning calmly around unseen hearts, held together by gravity's quiet promise. And as sleep deepens, the universe prepares to show you how even darkness can leave echoes, carried softly across the fabric of space. Only recently, on cosmic timescales, did humans learn how to listen. You imagine delicate instruments, stretched across Earth, waiting for space to move by less than the width of an atom. When a ripple finally arrives, the instruments respond, not with sound, but with recognition. A pattern appears. A story reveals itself. This story does not show pictures. It does not describe color or shape. It describes mass, motion, and time. It tells of objects so dense that they can only be known through their influence. It tells of black holes not as silent voids, but as participants in the universe's ongoing conversation. You feel a quiet awe at this. Darkness is not mute. It speaks in forms that require patience and humility to perceive. Gravitational waves are proof that even the most hidden corners of reality are connected to everything else. You imagine lying still as a ripple passes through you. Your body does not notice. Your thoughts do not shift. But the distance between your atoms changes ever so slightly, then returns. You are part of the wave, even if you never feel it consciously. The universe moves through you without asking permission. This thought feels intimate rather than unsettling. It suggests that you are not separate from cosmic events, even the most distant ones. You are woven into the same fabric. Space connects everything not only by position, but by motion. You reflect on how different this is from light. Light shows surfaces. It reflects and illuminates. Gravitational waves reveal motion beneath the surface. They show how mass truly behaves when pushed to its limits. They show the universe stretching itself and then settling back into calm. Black holes, in this way, speak most clearly when they move together. A single black hole sitting quietly in space sends no ripples. It is calm, stable, unchanging. But when two approach each other, when their orbits tighten and their gravity interacts dynamically, space begins to respond. The universe notices and records the change. You imagine these ripples as cosmic lullabies. slow, deep oscillations that travel endlessly, rocking space-time with perfect memory. They never fade completely. They only spread thinner, quieter, but still present. This endless travel feels soothing. Nothing truly disappears. Events leave impressions that last far beyond their moment. The universe is not forgetful. It carries everything forward, even if it becomes difficult to detect. You begin to feel how this connects to rest. Gravitational waves pass without disruption. They do not tear space. They flex it gently and then allow it to relax. The universe knows how to release tension naturally, returning to balance after even its most extreme moments. Your breathing mirrors this pattern. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, release. The rhythm feels universal. You sense that these ripples offer a different way of knowing black holes. Not by imagining falling into them, but by listening to how they affect the universe at large. They are not isolated mysteries. They are active participants in the cosmic story, shaping space in ways that can be felt across unimaginable distances. As your thoughts slow further, you feel that these ripples are still moving now, passing through galaxies, through dark matter, through you. They are subtle enough to be ignored, yet constant enough to be real. The universe is never perfectly still. You rest in this idea, comforted by the softness of it. Even the most powerful events do not break the universe. They send gentle echoes instead, reminders that motion and connection exist everywhere. And as sleep draws you deeper, you sense that beyond these ripples lies another quiet story. One told not by motion, but by light struggling at the edge of escape, light that almost makes it out, carrying whispers from the brink of darkness. You drift now to the very edge of visibility, where darkness and light meet without conflict. After the ripples of moving space fade into quiet, something softer remains, a faint glow, delicate and persistent. It does not come from the black hole itself, but from what surrounds it, from matter that has not yet let go. This light feels hesitant. Gas and dust wander through space for ages, cold and scattered, until gravity begins to gather them. Near a black hole, this gathering becomes graceful and intense. Matter does not fall straight in. It spirals. It circles. It stretches into a wide, glowing disk, turning slowly, like a galaxy in miniature. You imagine watching this disk from a safe distance. It shines not because it wants to, but because it must. As matter crowds together, friction builds. Particles rub and collide, transferring motion, sharing energy. Heat rises. And where heat rises, light follows. This light is different from starlight. It carries tension. It carries effort. Each photon is born from matter struggling to settle into deeper gravity. The closer the matter drifts inward, the hotter it becomes, glowing from red to white to blue, telling its story through color rather than words. You feel the calm irony of this moment. A black hole, famous for swallowing light, is surrounded by one of the brightest environments in the universe. Darkness creates brilliance, not by shining itself, but by asking everything nearby to work harder to remain free. You rest with this image, letting it turn slowly in your mind. The glowing disk does not rush. Its rotation is steady, shaped by gravity and angular momentum, rules that apply everywhere. Even here, even this close to disappearance, the universe remains orderly. Some of the matter in this disk will fall inward, crossing the horizon and vanishing from view. Some will be flung outward, escaping into space, carrying energy away. The universe does not choose one outcome alone. It allows many paths to coexist. Light, too, faces a choice. Photons born close to the black hole begin their journey outward immediately. They race away at the maximum speed the universe allows. But space itself is curved here, and that curve makes escape difficult. Some photons lose energy as they climb. Their colors stretch, shifting toward red, growing softer, longer, quieter. This stretching is not damage. It is memory. Each photon carries the imprint of the gravity it escaped. By the time it reaches distant space, it has changed, aged by its journey. To those who detect it far away, it tells a subtle story. I was born near something heavy. I struggled upward. I survived. You imagine one such photon leaving the disk at just the right angle, with just enough energy. It spirals outward, slipping between curved paths, avoiding the inward pull by the smallest margin. Behind it, countless others fail, turning back inward, becoming part of the black hole's growing mass. You drift slowly outward, leaving the last traces of light and matter behind. The spirals of galaxies, the glowing disks of gas, and the quiet ripples of space all stretch and soften into a wide, gentle calm. You carry with you the memory of everything you have seen, the patient centers of galaxies, the collapsing stars, the event horizon that marked a boundary between what can return and what cannot. And yet, you feel no need to hurry. The universe does not ask you to understand it fully. It does not demand that you map every curve of gravity, every hidden mass, every photon that barely escaped. Some things are meant to be held in quiet wonder, their details less important than the awareness they inspire. You rest in that awareness now, suspended in the gentle fabric of the cosmos. Black holes, those mysterious anchors of galaxies, remain. They do not announce themselves. They do not hurry. They do not seek attention. They exist, quietly shaping the motion around them, holding the universe together without asking for recognition. They are neither monsters nor threats. They are patient, enduring, and entirely themselves. You imagine looking back toward one of these cosmic hearts. Its darkness stretches, unyielding, incomplete. You feel the pull at once exerted on your mind, not as a force but as a calm invitation to contemplate, to consider, to surrender to the scale of the universe. Its presence is soothing, in a paradoxical way. The unknown can feel like a lullaby if you allow yourself to rest with it. In this space, you notice that questions begin to soften. Curiosity remains, but it no longer demands answers. What lies beyond the edge of a black hole? How do ripples of space carry stories? Where do photons go that almost escape? Each inquiry exists, but you let them linger like gentle tides rather than pressing storms. There is comfort in not resolving every puzzle. You sense the rhythm of the cosmos around you. Galaxies orbit in their patient cycles. Stars are born, shine, and fade. Matter drifts, collects, ignites, and eventually falls back into the waiting gravity wells. The universe is both dynamic and consistent, vast yet intimate. Its movements are grand, yet every process contains a quiet, meditative logic. You feel part of that rhythm simply by observing. Even the emptiest spaces are full. Not of matter or light, but of possibility. Darkness itself is active. It bends, it curves, it shapes the journey of stars and light alike. You realize that rest, in the universe, is never stillness. It is a balanced presence, an ongoing, gentle flow of potential and realization. Black holes rest this way, silently, profoundly, shaping the cosmos without need for recognition or action. You allow your awareness to drift further. You are no longer close to any particular black hole or galaxy. You see many, their centers hidden yet influential. You feel the combined patience of countless anchors holding the universe together. There is an unspoken order in their quiet, a structure that supports all motion, all light, all life, without pressing itself upon them. And here, at the center of all this understanding, you feel your own mind softening. Patterns emerge without effort. You can hold complex thoughts gently, without grasping retention. You recognize that much like the black holes you observed, your mind can embrace mystery without demanding to conquer it. Some knowledge is meant to be experienced rather than solved.